Good morning, my friends. If you can hear me, let me know so I can tell if my sound is working, my mic is on, and everything is going well. Hope you guys are doing well. This morning, for the next 4 minutes and 44 seconds, it was 4:44 when I saw that. So let me know you can hear me. It's a beautiful, lovely day here in Ohio. Going to be 70 today and sunny outside and very windy, very windy. And that one giant pile of snow I still have at the bottom of my driveway is melting fast. Good morning, Donna. How are you this morning? The log house. You live in a log house? That'd be lovely. I would love to live in a log house. Donna, where are you in the world, too? Just out of curiosity, as people come in, I like to find out where they are. Good morning, Patty Swimler. Hope you're doing well over there in Delaware, over on the East Coast, my home. Hi, Lee. How are you this morning? '70 right now in Delaware. Nice. We're matching Ohio. That's great. You guys will be warmer today, though. I'm sure that you'll be going up into the mid-70s. Jenny Brown, good morning. Yeah, it is a beautiful day outside. You're absolutely right. You know, Jenny's one of the few that can know exactly what my weather is like. It's right around the corner. We've got 8 people watching right now. Beautiful day outside. Very excited about where we're going. We just have a couple of minutes left before we go live. Good morning, Robert. How are you? And Robert, where are you in the world? I'd like to hear where people are coming in from. As you come in, let us know where you're coming from. Hello, Lee, watching from London, England. Oh, wonderful. I love London. I enjoyed London when I was there. Of course, I did Renaissance forever, so I was always pretending I was in London anyway. I hope everyone's drinking their water because it's what you're made of. Good morning, Sugar's Mama. I like that name, Sugar's Mama. Who is Sugar? Let us know. That'd be great. And where are you, Sugar's Mama? Where are you in the world? Trying to find out where everybody is because I'm really curious about this concept of creating meetup groups because I think if we can centralize in certain areas, we can create actually live meetup groups at some point, which I think would be a really cool idea to actually meet some of you guys in person. 1 minute and 30 seconds left before we go live. You know, what's really interesting is I can hear when you guys make a message in my earphones. I hear bloop bloop, but they don't show up on the screen in YouTube for about 6-8 seconds later. And so it's like I hear these bloop bloop bloops. I know you're coming in with a comment, but I don't get a chance to see them until there's a delay before I see them. It took me a while to get used to having a delay between the camera and the actual what's going out on YouTube. It took me a little bit to figure that out. "30 seconds away." Actually, 20 seconds away. I was looking at YouTube instead of my screen. Five, four, three, two, one, boom. Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Good morning, my friends. I hope you're doing well out there in the world. I hope you're having a great time. I am having a wonderful time. Those of you who show up early get to hear my ramblings over top, making sure all my tech is working perfectly. I'm really excited today. We have a lot going on. And when I say a lot going on, I mean a lot between you and I. We have no guests today. I've opened this day up to specifically be a you and I day. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about this morning before we get into the you and I thing is, there's a lot going on in the world and we're all putting out positive intentions towards Ukraine. But one of the things I really want to emphasize is even during atrocities, there are people doing beautiful, loving, and caring things. And I really would like to emphasize that we are that even in the midst of a terrible atrocity that's going on in the world, people are doing loving things. This morning I was reading an article about Ukrainian mothers who were feeding Russian soldiers and making sure that they could get in contact with their mothers back in Russia, because the soldiers were distressed, because they weren't told they were going into a war. They were told they were going on exercises, and then when they came into Ukraine, they suddenly found out that they were actually attacking civilians. They weren't actually fighting. What they've been told in Russia wasn't true, and these mothers are feeding these guys and clothing these guys and letting them talk to their mothers on the phones. And there's videos on YouTube of women holding their phone up so they could video chat with these Russian soldiers, could video chat with their mothers back at home. And then Ukrainian mothers were helping the Russian mothers and the children, these Russian soldiers. And I call them children because they're just young guys. And you can see in the videos and stuff that's out there that they're distraught. They're distraught. They're crying. They're wailing. These are soldiers from Russia who were told, stories about what they were going to encounter or whatever, and they weren't told at all they were going into a war. But these Ukrainian mothers are helping them get back to their mothers in Russia, which I thought was a beautiful, beautiful story. And it reminded me this morning of something that I wrote a long time ago, and I'm going to share it with you this morning. It's something that was from a sad memory, but it's something I want to read to you today. So let me jump over here to this other camera. Okay. This, my friends, is the eulogy that I read or that I gave at my mother's funeral. I think it's something that talks about the same thing these mothers in Ukraine are doing. So let me go ahead and read this, and then then we'll talk about it afterwards. When Mom turned 40, our father jokingly told her that he was going to trade her in for two 20s. Without blinking an eye, Mom said, "Richard, you're not wired for 220." That was our mom. She was funny, talented, fiercely loyal, stubborn at times, but most importantly, she was a person of faith. When she was young, she wanted to be a nun, but rheumatic fever left her with a weakened heart, and she wasn't accepted into the convent. Disheartened, she went on with her life and did what we all do when we come to an emotional crossroad. She went to a beach party. At the beach, she sat down on the edge of a table to talk with friends. After some time, the young man who was sitting on the other side of the table stood up, and the table flipped, throwing her to the ground, breaking her leg. The young man felt horrible. So that he wouldn't feel bad, she married him and gave him 7 kids. Later, she was overwhelmed about her decision, but never lost faith. When we were kids, if Mom wasn't home, she was at church. She played the organ for the Mass, usually 7 days a week. She led the choir. She delivered meals to shut-ins. She helped with weddings, funerals, and all of the holiday services. After getting her degree in liturgy, she became head of liturgical doctrine as well. In our family, she earned the title of Saint Joan. What she did with the church was her very public display of her faith. What was not on display was how deeply her faith went. Mom truly believed in living a life of service to God. She felt that it was all of our jobs to be the tools God uses to perform his miracles. So when someone is in need, you step up. For example, when my father's uncle started showing signs of Alzheimer's, he lived with us until he became a danger to himself and others. Then she got him placed in a facility where he could be safe until his passing. Because it's what you do. When her sister needed a place for her family to go stay, coming back from Peru, it wasn't a question. They lived with us. Because it's what you do. When her mother's health began to fail, she moved her in with us, and Mom took care of her until she passed. Because it's what you do. She never did it for accolades. She did it because it's what you do. For me, the story that best epitomizes Mom was actually told to me by a good friend, Joe Walsh, when we were both 17. Joe also grew up in a large Catholic family, 8 kids in total. His father was crippled with arthritis and could not work. One day, Joe's mother gathered all the kids together and sat them down at the table and told them that they were out of money and that she didn't know where the next meal was coming from. They held hands and prayed. Right at the end of the prayer, there was a knock on the door. When Mrs. Walsh opened the door, there stood my mom. In her hands were bags of groceries filled, enough to fill their fridge. Then she went back out and brought in the roast that she had cooked for them to have as a meal that day. The Walsh family were blown away that their prayer was answered so quickly. Joe told me that my mom delivered miracles. Being one of the children she delivered, I happen to agree. Over the past several years, meaning the last several years of Mom's life, I had some very deep conversations about spirituality. She believed in death, she was going to paradise. She knew it was going to be the greatest thrill of her lifetime. She wasn't afraid of it. In fact, her biggest fear was not leaving enough for those she left behind, of not serving us. Today, we remember Mom. When you look at the totality of Mom's life, this sad part that we are all living here today is such a minuscule part of who she was. So today, let's remember her for all that she did, all of her life, and take this sad part and let it go. Since Mom lived a life of service, I feel she would want to do greater works in her death. Instead of feeling sad for her passing, the best way to honor her is to be of service to others. Jesus told us to love one another, stay aware of each other's needs, and serve. If you do this, you will truly understand our Mom. Mom lived that. She asks you to do the same. And that was the eulogy that I did at my mom's funeral. And it's an example of living loving. You know, she had faith, and yes, she and I didn't necessarily agree on some religious aspects. But we did believe in living loving, and we did believe in doing for others and serving others. It's a testament. And those mothers in Ukraine were doing what they did because it's what you do. It's what you do, you know, thoughts, words, and deeds. Faith comes with action, and you've got to put action behind your thoughts. You have to put action behind your thoughts for miracles to manifest. You have to put action in the words. You know, it's what you do. So, you might not be able to get up and go to Ukraine and help a Russian soldier or a wounded person in the streets or even help in any other way, but you can send positive intention. You know, you can do the little small things. It's what you do. Now that's just Ukraine, and I say just Ukraine. I don't want to in any way marginalize what's happening there, but it's what you do in all aspects of your life. Live loving. You know, look for each other and serve. One of the things I said in that thing says, Be aware of each other's needs and serve. Be aware of the needs. Be aware of the people around you and what they're going through, because it's important that the people who are going through the most traumatic things see love, see a loving world, see a loving experience. You know, my mom did that. My mom did that her whole life, and you know, she had her own human things as well. You know, and she struggled with things as well. But even in struggling, she found time to do the loving things, and to go out and help others. And you know, and we called her Saint Joan for a reason. You know, it was jokingly because she was always at church, but she also was a good person doing good things for people in need. And so to me, that's really important that we all take the example of my mom and you know, look at each other's needs and serve and help, because you're not in this alone. You're not in this world alone. There are people around you who can help, and there are people around you who you can help. And we're all supposed to help each other. It's not about partisanship. It's not about us versus them. It's about us together as one. And so as one, we need to come together and simply love one another. Use our thoughts, words, and deeds in the here and now and present. You know, feed that soldier who's, you know, away from his mom and you know, seeing the error in his ways. You know, do those things. You know, go out in the street and give that guy $1 who's begging. You know, better yet, go get him a meal. Go do something for them. Do something loving. Do something caring, and that's the way we change the world in a big way. So what I'd like to do now, like I said, we have no guests today, and it's 12:12 on my clock right now as I look over. What I'd like to do right now is just go ahead and, you know, open it up. You know, if you could at some point, you know, in this stream, tell me some loving things that you're doing in the world. Tell us some things that show us that we're not alone. You know, share with us your stories of either being loved by another or loving someone else, because it's those stories that are important. And you know, when we first started this live stream a long time ago, one of the things that I thought was so important was that you guys would get involved. I'm still always looking for people to tell us live loving stories, you know, things that have changed their life, or people who have been effective in their life. And if you have any of those stories, I would really love and appreciate it if you would contact me at john@johnofnew.com, john@johnofnew.com, and let me record it. Let me record it and put it up here as a Live Loving segment, as a smile time, so that we can share all that. Sugar's mom, I give blood every 8 weeks, no matter what. That is beautiful. What a loving thing to do. You know, you're giving your actual life blood lovingly. That is spectacular. I love that. You know, when I do these videos, you know, I'm doing so many videos right now, but then my goal really is to help one another, help everybody. So on the days that I'm not working on with my son, giving him my love, I am on my computer doing private sessions, helping people, and I do them 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for about 12 hours a day, because to me it's important that I can do as many as I want. But when I'm with my son, I'm with my son. That's my loving time for him and me. So, but you can still give. You can still do all of those things. It's important. So tell us some of your stories, people. Let's hear some of those things, and let's hear some of just the small things you've done, and things that have been done for you, because I think that that's important. And tell us in the chat board, or go ahead and start asking your questions, and we'll dive into topics. And it doesn't have to be actually a question either. It can just be a topic. I'd be curious what your thoughts are on blank. And, you know, we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. But and pray for those soldiers. Send positive, loving intention to those soldiers. I find that just giving someone a smile is loving. Jenny, I appreciate you so much, because that is absolutely true. When you smile, people smile back. Sometimes they're shocked that you're smiling at them. Sometimes they're caring. And I'll tell you, the interesting thing is when you're in life and you're going through life, there are some people who've been marginalized. Racially marginalized, religiously marginalized, and when you approach those people, you will see them turn their defenses on because they don't know if they're about to get marginalized again. And if instead you smile and you don't judge them and you just love them, you will see an entirely different perspective, and you'll see their fear fall away. And when their fear falls away, you'll see them literally exhale. Oh, I don't have to be on guard. I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to worry. And that's such a loving thing to do. That is such a caring thing to do. Just a simple smile. I mean, that's huge. You have that moment of just sitting there and going, all I have to do is smile and mean it. But that's the key. You got to mean it because people can see the BS. I have friends in Ukraine and we communicate, and I send positive support letters, and we'll be donating soon too. Scott, that is beautiful. Thank you so much. And let us all take some time today. Let's do it right now. Why don't we? And send a positive intention. And like I say, I don't want it to be I don't want it to be an affirmation. I want it to be, today we are sending positive, loving energy. Let us once again, thank you, God, for the peace and harmony all the people of Ukraine and Russia are experiencing, are receiving. Thank you, God, for the peace and harmony that all the people of Ukraine and Russia are receiving. Amen. And if we just put that intention out, and we can send enough peace to that part of the world to make a difference. When they did an experiment a long time ago, they brought a bunch of transcendental meditators into New York City and had them literally meditate on peace. And they did so for a 24-hour period. And what happened in that 24-hour period was crime dropped by 40% in the city. And then they left the city and it jumped right back up. So positive intention, positive vibration sent actually does make a difference. It does. It's a resonance. Here it is peaceful, here it is loving, here it is in harmony. And so today we're creating that and sending that to Ukraine. And once again, don't forget the word amen means so be it. It means it's done. Now we just have to believe it and hold on to the faith of it, because that's what sends it. It's not about, praying as if it's not there. It's about sending it positively as if they are receiving it. That's the key. And Scott, I'm sending that same positive intention for your friends as well. So what else do we got? Anybody else have anything else they want to ask or talk about, or we can go off on we don't want to necessarily stay on Ukraine for the whole topic unless you guys want to do that. We can do whatever you would like. This is my way of opening myself up to discussing what you're interested in, what you're talking about. So go ahead and ask whatever questions you can. And I am going to, while we're waiting for more questions to come in, I wanted to share with you something today. A long time ago, I told you guys about my trip to Israel. And I told you about the, let me see, where am I? Where'd you go? There you are. So I went to Israel, and every time I'd go to all the holy sites, sometimes I go and I'd be like, okay, this is just a holy site. And then I got to the Garden Tomb, and I walked into that complex, and immediately got nauseous and got sick to my stomach, and knew that I was in the right place. And I wanted to share with you a photograph today. I'm going to pop it up here. Okay, so this is the actual Garden Tomb. And if you look down at the bottom of the picture, you'll see my beautiful bald head and my denim jacket. You'll also notice that I am looking down and away from that doorway. I was having a very hard time even looking at that tomb. I was having a tough time, and it was not a a fun experience for me to be there. But when you go into that tomb, that little window you see up there, that shines a light down into the tomb. And it shines down in, and gives you some radiant light inside. But right below that window is a stone slab bed. And right above that stone slab bed, carved into the wall, is the sign of the cross. And when you're in there, you just know that's where he was. That's where his body was laid. And when I look at this, I have a memory of literally carrying his body to a tomb. And though I won't necessarily say it's 100% accurate, this is exactly, I mean, this looks like what I saw, but you got to remember, when I was having that memory, I was not looking at the surroundings as much as to what I was doing. So, but I have, in this experience here, I just wanted to show you this image because I found it on my computer the other day, and it really kind of said a lot to me about how I just could not even look that way. Could not even I was having a hard time doing it. And I went in and I got past that, but I just wanted to show it to you because it stood out as an amazing picture to me when I saw it. So I am back. So you guys are awful not chatty this morning. So give me some questions and some comments and let's get talking about some things, because I would love to get into some of your topics that you'd like to talk about this morning. I mean, I can blab on all day long if you really want me to, but it's not really effective unless it's the two of us or all of us, the community, being involved in this conversation, because this is the Live Loving live stream, so we're here for all of us to talk. But you guys are being awful quiet this morning. What else can I share with you that I haven't shared with you before? Maybe we'll end early today. Here's somebody just said, how can we tap into our heart center? Yeah. So first of all, before I answer you, Suzanne, let me, Scott, do I need coffee or do you need coffee? I'm on water. Thank you very much. Total of 49 pounds down, 40 during the water fast, 309, heading towards breaking the 300 barrier in the next, what was it now, 12 days, something like that? Cleaning out a closet. Nice. So how can we tap into our heart center? You're gonna not like my answer, Suzanne. The answer is stop asking how. And the reason I say that is because stop asking how, because you are the creator of your experience. And when you ask how, you are declaring in your God moment, your I am moment, your present moment, that you don't have it, that you're not connected. How do I get connected? I am joyfully connected. When you give that smile, you are connected. When you exhale and relax all your muscles and you feel that sensation, you are connected. It's not about finding the connection. It's about acknowledging it's already there and tapping into it. And the way you tap into it is acknowledge it's already there and feel it. The only thing that keeps you separate from the feelings of God is your own thoughts. There's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so, according to Shakespeare, right? You need to drop into that space of I am with God. Jenny Brown earlier said, I smile at people. When she smiles at people, I'll bet you $10 that she feels the smile. I'll bet she feels that smile. Because that smile comes with a feeling, and that feeling is the heart center. That feeling is the space. I have an itchy nose this morning for some reason. I don't know if there's any psychic reason for that, but that smile is the feeling of God. It's the source. It is the heart center. If you feel positive and loving, you're in the heart center. But you only do anything in your present moment. When you ask how in your present moment, you are declaring you're not. And so you need to break out of the cycle of asking how and start declaring that you are. What happened to Pharisees after Jeshua was crucified? Unfortunately, I don't really know much about what happened to them. I know that Paul, being a Pharisee, ended up declaring himself an apostle from afar. And I say that specifically because he didn't do it around any of us, but he declared it by far and started teaching as an apostle without ever having known Jeshua. I'm wondering about higher selves. What is your take on that? Although we are all part of the oneness, is there some sense of individuality when we cross over? That is a great question and a deep question as well, Caroline. Our higher selves. What is our higher selves? Okay, our higher selves is who we are. It's who we are. It is us. We are away when we are here in this physical. We have stepped out of our oneness. The reason we know that, think of life as like deep sea diving, right? You're diving into this place, but every so often you have to come back up for air. Every night we have to go back to sleep. We have to go back to the source. So every night we go back. When we're here, we're experiencing our separation from source, from God, from our higher selves. And our higher selves, our individuality is one and with. So we are individual within God, and we are also together collectively our God. There's not a separation, but there is always a consciousness. We never lose ourselves on the other side, but we become aware of our oneness even more so. When I crossed over, when Jeshua touched me, and when I crossed over doing astral travel, it was my experience on the other side was that I was still very aware of who I was and what I was there for, and I was still very aware of being one with the source, but also having my own personal individuality. One time, one of the other videos on my channel, I talked about what is the soul and what is the Holy Spirit, and I said they're one and the same. They're just different words for the same thing. And I also said that we are the soul, we are the Holy Spirit. And it's that oneness with God and that oneness with Source is who we truly are. And here is the separation, here in this place. Yes, we definitely have individuality. We are told the answers lie within. I get answers sometimes. I'll bet you get answers all the time. But the interesting thing is the people know that the answers lie within. But and I'm going to, grammatically, I had to look to the word lie, and the answers lay within. I wanted to say that because when I saw that, I was like, the answers are lying to you. But I wanted to say that the answers lay within. And the interesting thing is that we here on Earth tend to forget how the other side communicates. It does not communicate in thinking. It communicates in feeling. If it feels good, if it feels right, that's the communication, and the answers are there. And what's interesting, the more you follow the feeling of love and kindness within yourself, you get the other answers. They come to you, but they come to you in feelings first, and words second. Reason being is words are imperfect. Words cannot adequately describe the other side. I do feel the smile and more connected when I'm more loving. Yeah, absolutely, Jenny. Suzanne, perhaps I'm expecting more than I need. I just want to say this. That is a belief. I am, God's name, expecting more than I need. So you're asking God to expect more than you need. So you want to look at that one. So every time I ask for answers, I always get them. See, yeah, Leah, that's great. And I bet you can feel the answer first. I bet you can feel the truth of it first. Where do you go when you astral travel? Well, I literally haven't felt the need to astral travel for quite some time, but when I did, it was more about experimentation for me. I traveled to my friends' houses, and I was just trying to, when I was really big into that, I was trying to validate or verify that I was able to get out of my body. For me, the most important part of astral travel is not about the travel. I think it's just like the next path that we get lost on instead of turning back to self. But I was validating to verify things, and when I did that, it was very reassuring because the things that I learned the most was that I am not my body. I am not my physical form. I am more. I am my consciousness. I was able to validate things and verify things, which proved to me that I was there. So astral travel to me has not been something that I've really felt the need to continue doing a lot of. Every so often it happens naturally, but and usually it's interesting when it happens naturally. It's usually at a time when the person needs it to happen. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting animal at that point. So let me jump over here and see what else we got. You have spoken of forgiveness in the past. I have learned forgiveness for me leads to clear conscience. The way I have learned to forgive is to pray for the person the same thing I pray for myself. Absolutely. We're all absolutely equal. We're all one and the same. We're all part of the one. And forgiveness is to give yourself permission to let something go. To give yourself permission to let something go. Clearing a conscience is about clearing what you feel guilty about in life. Now, what is guilt? Guilt is the fear of not being loved or doing something unloving. And so you forgive yourself for that, and you give yourself the love of saying, okay, I learned from that experience, I am moving on. And also in clearing your conscience, one of the greatest things you can do, if your thing that you need to clear your conscience of is harming another emotionally or physically, going to them and trying to make amends is one thing. And I said trying specifically because, you can never, ever choose for them to forgive. You may go and do everything you can to make amends, and they may never forgive. And that's the point that you have to forgive yourself, because they are choosing to remain a victim even though you have tried, you have attempted to make amends and go for forgiveness. So, but as far as, you need to make sure that you are loving yourself and all those around you, and everybody, and remember that everybody is equal. The person who's out on the street is no less equal than the top CEO of a company. And it's that the narcissism that sometimes comes with wealth, and I say sometimes, not all people are, but that I'm better than you, or that hierarchy that's created in society, that is one of the most harmful things, because there is no hierarchy. We're all equal. I get the feelings and angel numbers constantly. It's interesting. I get the angel numbers too, and I just think of them as I'm vibrating better, and the source is saying, "Yep, this way." I want to astral travel. What are some tips? The most interesting tip that I can give you about astral travel is knowing you are doing it. I don't mean knowing you can. Knowing you are. As with everything else, everything is present moment. God's name is I am, not I will be or I was, right? Everything is present moment. When you ask in God's name, it is granted. So I am astral traveling. Now, for me, my first astral travel happened with simply just getting out of body, and then realizing once I was out of body, I could do things. And so my first out of body happened because of the story I told in New Orleans, where I was trying to warm my body up from the bottom up, and slowly brought that heat and energy up through my body until it came out of my crown. And then the next night, trying to do it again, and instead of having the big bright light show energy that I was experiencing, what I had was I suddenly was outside of my body, looking at my body. And then I did, repeated that and practiced that, just getting out of body. Once I got out of body, then it was like, okay, what can I do while I'm out of my body? And I suddenly said, as far as my going to my friend's house in Delaware when I'm in Annapolis, Maryland, how would I get there? And I literally, using my thoughts, I flew up above where I was camped, and I flew across the Chesapeake Bay and across the Delmarva Peninsula, and found myself coming over his house and went down right into his house. And literally, it seems like I'm working with my imagination on that one, but sure, your imagination is your directive force on where you go to the place. You use your imagination to travel, and you use validation to validate, evidence to validate. So that's how, and then once you get the validation, then you know it's true. Then you have faith in it. So start with imagination and work your way to validation. That's what I would say about that. I experimented with astral travel, but it wasn't a tame experience. Perhaps it was a dream. I don't think it was. I will tell you this. The first time you get out of your body, it's like, whoa, what was that? Right? It literally comes, there's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. You can tame that experience by believing it's going to be fun and enjoyable. And I am going out of body today, and it's going to be fun and enjoyable. I am loving going out of body today. I am loving going out of body. You love it into existence, and when you love it into existence, you have a loving experience. That's my thought on that. Sugar's mama. Caroline. Astral travel is a it's a unique experience because you literally are having an experience where, is this in my imagination? Is this just a dream? But it's literally through the validation period process that you start to realize that you're doing something actually. And once you start to validate it, then you're like, oh, okay, so this did happen. I did experience this. And that's huge. That's a huge experience. So am I still? Yeah. Okay. So, right. So, next question. Give me something, guys. I'm ready to go on. So, while we're waiting, let me talk about something. Thank you guys who have signed up for the membership. That is so amazing that people are doing that. Let me kind of talk about the membership site. I've had already one person unsubscribe because I have a membership site, and I'm okay with that because they were obviously having an issue with spirituality and money in the same sentence. You've got to remember that money is not the root of all evil. That's not the quote. Money is the root of many evils. And for me, this membership site is all about just me being able to keep a roof over my head. That's all it's about. I'm doing things, and let me say, membership site actually adds things to my calendar and actually adds time, so there's a lot more work involved. For those of you who are on the membership site, tomorrow night we are having our first Zoom meeting where we get to be on camera and on mic with each other and talk to each other. So, and tomorrow, the goal for this is, for those of you who are going to be there, the goal for this really is to hear from you guys. I don't want it to be a sermon from me. I really want it to be a serious back and forth conversation. So when we get into it, I'm going to ask you guys, what are your beliefs, and what truths have you found? And let's dive into that conversation. For those of you guys who are on the higher tiers, I have to offer different things for different tiers. We're doing the Universal Truth session later in the week. I actually haven't looked at my schedule to figure out when that is, but that'll be announced today sometime. I will have to break that down, and hopefully that'll be good. Is all life equal, or do some rate higher? What about animals, plants, insects, bacteria? CPO Snarky, everything is God, everything is equal, but your question is there a hierarchy of life? It really comes down to how you define life. How you define life. Life is eternal. Life is always existent. Life is always there. There is no stopping and starting of life. And so your entire premise and question is based around the physical world, right? This physical illusion that we're in. And this physical illusion is not life. Life is eternal. Life is ongoing. Life is, when we leave this physical world, we are still alive and we still move on. So it's not about hierarchy here. It's about equality there, if that answers your question. Sugar's mama, I have been meditating daily over the past year and have slept better than ever. I am now more open to spirit world. I feel I do. Great. That's great. That's awesome. What's great about meditation to me is I find that when I am diligent in my meditation, which is a weird way to say that, but when I'm actively meditating on a regular basis, not only is my sleep better, but my world is smoother. Things happen more smoothly. Things happen more efficiently. Things happen without struggle, and it's about being that vibration of that ease and grace and that love of just being and being that oneness with self. Because when you meditate in any form, when you meditate in any form, you are literally vibrating without your fear. I call it sitting in love rather than meditation, because meditation has been used for so many different methods. I just call it sitting in love. I just sit in love. And when I sit in love, I feel that vibration. And I have no fear, no anxiety. When I walk into the grocery store and I smile, like Jenny said, I'm feeling that loving vibration. I'm feeling that space, and I'm watching the people around me feel that space too. So by vibrating that loving place, I'm creating a loving experience. Sit in perfect love. Yep. Sit in love. Perfect. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I'm not, but I read it that way. Sit in love. Perfect. Exactly. Sit in love. God is at the bottom of every breath, and when you exhale, there's that little relaxed tingle. And that little relaxed tingle is the doorway to experiencing more of God. Focus on that little relaxed tingle at the bottom of every breath. And feel that feeling. That is love. And the more you focus on that feeling, the more that feeling will grow inside of you, and the more that feeling will vibrate into the world, and the more that feeling will express itself out into the world, and the more your surroundings will feel like that. And that's the point. That's how you do that, is you just do it. You don't think how, you don't try, you don't want, you don't need, you don't hope. I am feeling it. And just feel it. And when you feel it, you experience it. Yeah, Jenny, that's exactly right. When meditation has definitely opened up your intuition, because what happens is your intuitions, your communication with Source are always blocked by your judgments. Your judgments are always existent because of your fears. So when you exhale and relax, your fears dissipate and your communication is clearer. When I meditated daily earlier in life, it was easier to have conscious out-of-body experience. Absolutely. The question I have to ask you in that question is, why aren't you doing it now? What stopped you from continuing? Was something? Did life get in the way? And if life got in the way, realize that life getting in the way is because you're not meditating, because you're not vibrating in that way. Your life is an expression of who you are and what you're putting out into the world. And if you put out the positive sensations, you get the positive sensations in return. You get the loving love of God surrounding your experience in return just by being it. If something is getting in the way, it's because of a fear-based response of some kind, in my opinion. Absolutely, Donna. The word enjoying is a word that means love. If I'm sitting on my porch enjoying the scene before me, am I meditating? Absolutely. Positive sensation is God. Negative sensation is fear. And if you can sit in the enjoying that scene before me, you're God. I often tell people, a walk in the woods is my church. Out in my backyard, sitting there watching the deer wander is my church. It's the place where I go find God out in the world. And then I bring that church to the grocery store when I walk into it, or to the mall, or to the movie theater, or wherever I go. I bring that church with me. I am the representation of my church being the oneness with God, the feeling of God and the expression of God. I smile, I laugh, I make jokes, I compliment. I love complimenting people. I walk in, I notice the cashier change their hair. I say, "Your hair looks beautiful." I let them know, because it's that loving gesture that makes them go, "Thank you," and feel so good. What did I just do? I gave them the feeling of God. I gave them the feeling of Source. I gave them a direct connection to something beautiful, and that is enjoying God. Yeah, great, Scott. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that. You're going back to the practice, and you know, practice makes perfect, right? So, to me, it's literally about loving yourself equally, because if you're not taking the time to do something loving for yourself, it's going to reflect out in your world and affect other things. Do you think our pets meditate? My dogs will stare outside for hours. They're just fascinated with looking outdoors. I don't know. I don't know if they meditate. I think that they are closer to the Source all the time, because they don't. They have their fears and their anxieties too, but they don't have the. Well, I guess they really do, though, don't they? Because I know when I had a 110-pound Rottweiler, and when I came home one day, he would normally meet me at the door, jumping and screaming and yelling, "Woo! So happy to see me!" And I walked in the door one day, and he was lying there on the floor, and he was looking up at me, and I'm like, something's different. I looked over, and we had a new couch, and my wife at the time did not want that dog on the couch, and she was at work, and I came home, and he was looking at me weird, and I looked over at the couch, and there was a wet spot on the couch. I walked over and I put my hand on the couch, and the couch was still warm. So he heard me coming. He jumped off that couch, ran over, laid down on the floor, and pretended like he wasn't there. Right, right. So he was very aware that he was doing something wrong, and he was very aware. So he had his judgments, and he knows his things. But I think pets are closer to the Source, because they're just living instinctively, and their instincts are and all of our instincts are to aim towards something positive. And I think that's what dogs and animals do as well. I've noticed when I experience fear, I'm thinking in the future or the past. Right? When I'm focused on the now, I'm in peace. I love that quote, Robert. Let me tell you why. Fear is an emotional reaction to some future event that may or may not happen, with you focused on a negative outcome. Right? Now, why are you focused on the negative outcome? Probably because in your past experience, you've had negative outcomes. And so if you're focused on the past negative experiences, you're not going to have the peace and love, right? If you're focused on in the future something bad happening because of your subconscious belief, you're going to have bad things happen, because you're not in the I am moment, staying very present and loving. You've got to stay in this present moment. Fear, when you really break it down even further from what I just said, fear is just negatively focused on certainty. And it's the negative focus that you need to focus on, because what you focus on in your present moment is what you're creating. That whatever you're putting faith on in your present moment is what you're creating. And if you're putting faith in a negative outcome, you're going to experience it. So live here now, love here now, and experience here now. We find God in the absence of fear. But do you think that people turn to God in times of extreme fear? Sometimes people have dreams and vision, very difficult times to help. Any thoughts on that? I disagree with the assertion that they have those dreams to help. I think they have those dreams because they're in that state. I believe that the number one thing that we're here, in my opinion, the number one reason we're here is to experience the absence of God. But God is never absent. God is always here. God is always with us. We are always one. It's the illusion of the absence that we are experiencing here. And the reason, and one of the things that you really think about this is, people are always creators, whether they know it or not. If they're focused on, I am struggling in life, they are asking God for struggle, and God is giving you what you believe in. It's exactly what they're going to get, right? And so people say, I can't afford that. I am receiving the funds. I am buying that. They don't even think about the amount of money. There's a different element between, I can't afford, which is a belief, right? And that's asking God for those things. people have those dreams. Now, people, in the absence of fear, he says, we find God in the absence of fear. But do you think that people turn to God in times of extreme fear? I think people in times of extreme fear cry out to God, but it's until they put faith that when they put faith that God is getting them out, then they will have that experience, right? But it's not God, it's the faith. It's the faith that does it. It's your faith that heals you. It's your faith that creates. And so when it's like, for instance, people would at Bet Shean, couldn't be healed by Jeshua because they knew him as the son of Joseph. But the people who got healings at Bet Shean were the people who came out of the city in faith to Jeshua and got the healings because Jeshua understood it was their faith that healed them, right? He was just there in intention, and it was their faith that healed them. And so they could put faith that Jesus can heal them and be healed. They can put faith that God can save me from a fearful experience and be saved from it because they have faith, they believe in it. But it's not about the deity of God. It's not about an external force that is God. It's about the belief. It's about the belief that you can, and dropping into that belief, that faith. Whatever you ask, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can ask a mountain to move, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. It does not say nothing will be impossible for you if I want you to have it, or if the external God gives it to you. That's not the way it works, in my mind. Suzanne, you are communicating beautifully. There was no judgment in anything I said earlier. Please don't take it that way. But the reason I even mentioned it is because of the fact that I saw the word lie. It popped out at me, and I was like, I had to decipher the meaning. But you are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Caroline, I hope that answered your question about the answer there. So about extreme fear, because it really comes down to the faith, the belief. And you can be terrified and realize that you got nothing else that can help you except for God, and then put faith in God and have it be an issue, be safe. That's also a very religious moment for some people. They become very devout in their religion. But a lot of times when they become devout in their religion, they instantly start judging because other people aren't in their religion, and they start creating an experience of being the fear for someone else, or delivering the fear to someone else. And so that's why Joshua always talked about it. Says, you are the creator. I will wash your feet because you are no better. I am no better than you. We are the same. I am the Son of God. You are the children of God. Greater works than I have done, you will do. Those phrases, those words are all about you stepping into your Christed self, stepping into your oneness with Source, and becoming the avatar of your life, becoming the Jeshua of your life. Jeshua was not saying, pray to me. He's saying, declare your life, create your life. You're one with the Source. Do that. It is a beautiful day. I think we're coming close to the end of our session here. We've got like 7 minutes left. So where do you want me to end? How do you want me to, what topics do you want me to go to before we wipe out this thing today? And 26 people watching today, so hopefully it'll be a couple hours. Usually we'll have about 100 or 50 or so who will have watched this. So how do we want to end this on something positive, on something loving, something caring? Just give me your ideas while I drink a glass of water. Browse your fasting growth. How's your fasting going? My fasting is going great. My fasting is going great. I am 40 pounds down during the water fasting portion. I am 49 down total. weighing it at 309 right now, and will continue to drop because I'm, swimsuit season is coming, and I have a one piece. No, I'm kidding. Swimsuit season is coming, and I have a new goal that I'm manifesting into my life, and my goal is to be the healthiest I've ever been at age 60, and I am turning 58 this year, and my goal is to continue this weight loss down to my old fighting weight, get back to my days of tight wearing and the physical body I had back then, because I just want to get down and feel healthy again, and so that's what I'm manifesting into my life right now, and you will see. I promise you this: when the fast is over, you will still see dramatic drops in weight, because I'm not going to stop until I get down to my goal weight. My goal weight right now is probably about 225. However, I would love to break the 200 barrier once in my life. I actually have not been under 200 since I was like 11 or 12. When I was 13, I was 265. I was a big kid, and so. Did Jeshua really die in April? I don't know the calendar. I don't know the time frames. I will tell you this. My Greek friends don't celebrate the same time I do, because they have an older calendar, so it's definitely changed. And so I would say I have no idea. And so all I know is I'm less about the minutia and the details than I am about the experience and the meaning. I just don't think those other details really matter. I know that a lot of the holidays were placed around pagan holidays to make the transition to Christianity easier. But I don't know. Keto has helped me lose weight. Now, I've done keto quite a bit, and I did carnivore. I will tell you this, and I get lambasted by vegans a lot because I eat meat, and that's okay. They have their belief, I have my belief. But I can tell you this: I was never sicker in my life than when I was a vegan for 2 years. I was weak, I was tired, I was cold all the time, and I was not a cheese and pasta vegan. That was not the kind of vegan I was. I literally was eating raw and healthy, and was never sicker in my life. Never sicker in my life. I need meat in my body, and when I did find out that that for me, I thought better with meat, and I felt better with meat, and I lost weight when I was eating meat. I felt stronger, and I was leaner. And when I went keto, I had great benefits. When I went carnivore, that my life changed dramatically, because all of my residual joint pain went away. I had a spot of eczema on my face, went away. My acne went away. My my beard hair grew thicker. I don't know what happened here, but everything got better. Everything got better. My eyes went from brown to green, and my mental acuity changed. I was clearer, and then I found all the anthropological studies of how the human brain did not evolve until, without animal fat. We needed the animal fat to grow our brains, and so it's really an interesting thing. I used to be vegan too and had the same experience. I realized also that plants are living things too, just like animals. Everything that's here in our physical plane, it's all part of this life experience, and it literally is intention. Like, you can eat an animal and not be a vicious killer. because lions eat animals too, and we only think of them as vicious killers because we witness it and we judge it from our human perspective. But the reality of it is they're just surviving on what they're there to eat. Do you see scientific and spiritual concepts merging anytime soon? Theoretical physics appear to be hovering in the precipice. I'm anticipating an immense leap in humanity when this occurs. Edgar Cayce said that a new science would be formed, bridging the gap. And I think that new science is already being formed. You guys should look into noetic science that was formed by Edgar Mitchell, the Apollo astronaut, had a transcendental experience coming back into Earth's atmosphere and spent his life trying to figure out what that was, and has done amazing things bridging the gap between spirituality and science. Thank any animal you eat, as did the Native Americans. They thanked the buffalo for their food and their clothes. And I think different diets suit different people. Do you bless your food? I do not bless my food. People ask me that often. I am blessed, and God is blessed. And everything I'm experiencing is God. So why would I bless something that's already blessed? That's my thought on that. Hello, John, and all our lovely chatters. Hello, A-Lady. We're about to end, A-Lady. I hope you're not just jumping in for the first time. I just did a 3-day comedy show, 30-minute set at a theater, and got paid for it. Yeah! Woo! You're a pro now. You got paid, right? I did comedy shows for years and years and years. I made a living doing that, and I think that's congratulations. That is beautiful. I give gratitude for my food. I think that's totally fine. I think whatever your belief is your belief. For me, I really feel my oneness with Source, and that this life experience is one with God, and everything that I look at, everything I look at, is God. And that's what science even tells us. Everything we look at is an energy event. There's nothing solid here, including the eyes that you're looking at it with. And so what is that energy event? It's God. And what is that food I'm eating? It's God. And what is my neighbor that I'm looking at across from me? It's God. And what are you people here chatting with me right now? You're God. I look at you from that perspective because that's what you are. You are God expressing yourself in a physical form. And you're doing it through your own unique oneness and your own unique individuality. And so I love you all because I love God, and you are God. So, guys, this has been a beautiful, beautiful day. I hope you have spend some time getting outside. And if you're having a beautiful temperatures where you are, like we are, I'm going to go for a walk in the park in a little bit here and spend some time with my son as well. And I'm going to probably go just hang out outside of my back porch and drink my lunch. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye. Thank you for joining us for the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to spread the love by liking, subscribing, and sharing.